I just got done watching my most anticipated horror film for the rest of this year, and that is Barbarian. You might have seen the trailer for this one. You might be being like, what the hell is down in that basement? I'm not going to spoil that because this is going to be a non-spoiler review because the trailer did an amazing job marketing this movie. But flat out, if you're looking forward to what kind of horror film is this, this is Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2 meets Neil Marshall's The Descent and sprinkling a little bit of Wes Craven's vibes from Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream. This is Barbarian. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today we're discussing Barbarian, starring the likes of Justin Long, Georgina, Campbell, and Bill Skarsgård, and even directed by Zach Cregger, who has very much been from the comedic space. This is his brand new horror thriller that I've been very intrigued with ever since I saw the trailer just a couple weeks ago when I went and saw Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It was my first time seeing the trailer. I'd stayed very much away from this movie, and after watching that trailer, I'm like, I gotta see this because I gotta know what's down in that basement. Because after a woman stays at an Airbnb and discovers that it's also being rented out by another guy, they decide to stay there together. But as they stay there, the house gets a little bit weirder, and it's not what it seems when they discover there is a basement underneath the house. Where that basement leads is a descent into madness. And again, that trailer did an amazing job not spoiling what is down there. Now, I had my thoughts, I had my theories, and you'll probably have those same things too, and maybe you'll kind of have some idea of what could be down there from just your theories and thoughts and from watching the movie, but you are not ready for what is down there, for what the reveal is, and the way that Zach uses this as a directing standpoint is something spectacular. This is one of my favorite films of this year. It is not going to be for everybody, but damn did I find this to be a near perfect horror experience, and I think a lot of you guys are going to experience that same feeling as well. Now, before we start really diving into this review, let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are. Are you excited for this movie? Are you not? Do you have any predictions of what might be down there? As well as make sure to hit that like and subscribe button because I love talking movies. This is my favorite place to be, and I love having you guys along for the ride. Just starting with my pros on why this is a near perfect horror experience. Flat out, the performances are awesome in here. Bill Skarsgård does an amazing job, and I'll actually go as far as say I think this is one of my more favorite performances from him. Really much he is not the main focus of the story. It really is Georgina Campbell's movie, but there is something about Skarsgård and the performance that he actually brings in here which is subtle and nuanced and very relatable to the kind of character that he's playing, and you never really understand, like, every character has deeper layers than what is on the surface approach, and a lot of that comes out of their performance. Georgina Campbell is a lot of that as well. You instantly feel relatable to her. You instantly feel like she is the one that you want to make sure survives, gets out of this experience, just in the small mannerisms that you kind of start to learn about her, who she is, and again, relatable to those certain extents. Adding in there Justin Long, who is just a big standout. We do not get enough of him in movies nowadays. He is great in Barbarian. Again, playing different than what I've ever seen him play before, but that's something that Long does well as this type of character type. And again, when you start to really descend into what's in this basement, the way that they all react really add to the tension of it all. One of the things that I think we can really give this film props is Zach's writing and directing in here. There's something about it in what you can say. Now, I'll be honest, I've never dove into any of the comedic elements that Zach has really much been involved with in the past, but the fact that he's diving into the horror realm nowadays, I want to dive back and see his comedic purpose because this isn't one of the scariest movies that you'll ever see. There are thrilling and very anxiety-inducing moments to the point where I was actually covering and watching the movie through my fingers. And that's just maybe because I'm a little baby at times when it comes to horror, because the way that Zach decides to build tension to each and every single one of these moments is one of the most brilliant elements to this entire movie, because as the camera is panning and the way that he uses these certain things to show off different moments and to show off different angles brings this wide variety, specifically even some of the camera lenses and what they are able to bring in within those elements. It adds this unnerving tension that gets right under your skin, even if there's maybe going to be a laugh soon or when the reveal happens and how wild and crazy it is. While it is still intense, it's not as scary, but it's at the same time, the build up to that is great. And after that, it just becomes a thrill ride once you start to learn what is down there and what is going on down there. A lot of prospect has to be given to that because the unnerving tension builds and builds for the first 40 minutes. And now all in that 40 minutes, you're sitting going, what is down there? What is going to be down there? And at the same point, you don't even want to look down there. I love that. I love that experience. And I love that this movie made me want to watch this film through my fingers because I didn't want to see what was going on. Like, that's how terrified I was at certain points. And I see the reveal, and they don't use jump scares to really do this. It's that added nerve it's really dark. Is that something right there? And when a movie can perform that very well, it's brilliant. Because sometimes there's something there, and sometimes there isn't. And when it gets you, it gets you. But adding into there, what also makes a really good horror movie is the mythology, the build-up. What is the explanation to this all? And I find that a lot of horror movies nowadays do not give that explanation. It always has to be symbolism and thematics and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I do like when a film basically sits you down and it does play out, and it lets you discover the mystery along for the ride as it's going on. And Zach's directing in there was one of the strongest parts of this script, because the thematics in here, there are themes, there are messages, there are parallels to each and everything going on, specifically with Justin Long character and certain things that he is dealing with and how it relates to certain elements towards the back half of this movie. Same thing with Georgina, Campbell, and everything that kind of leads in there into what these characters are. It's some of the smartest writing that I've seen this year so far, and honestly, in a while, when it comes down to a horror movie that in the same way is kind of basic into its undertone of what it's trying to explain. Again, I just found that to be very smartly written and not trying to bonk you over the head like, you need to learn this, but also not at the same time taking it too serious. It's trying to make it fun, while at the same time cleverly writing all this in and balancing tones. There's a point in this film where the bomb drops, you see what's going on, you're still fucking confused, and you're just like, what the hell is going on in this twisted house? And then it changes. And then the next 20 minutes is something different. And then it goes back to that. But that 20 minutes adds this levity to it that adds to the rest of the tone, and again dives into what Sam Raimi does best with horror movies. Adds comedy, adds fun, and adds twisted, gruesome, and disgusting moments. And that's not something we get a lot in horror nowadays. And it's something that I really do appreciate, that Zach was able to really much bring into this entire story and further it out in a new way that I haven't seen before. That's again what it is. Once you find out what's going on, it gets more and more twisted because of the story he's telling and the way that it backtracks. Okay, cool. These people are there. Whose house is this? How did this house become this way? What is going on down there? Why is it going down there? As you learn, it really just gets more effed up in the seconds it just goes on, and it's very wicked and twisted, like I mentioned, but really brilliant in there. And the usage of cinematography and production design is something to really talk about, because just the simple things of a setting, you know, she pulls up, and then the next day you actually get to see the outside. Well, what happens if that changes? Using that landscape to really tell a time, telling a timeline. Using music and, again, production design to really elevate this. It shows how many changes have gone through. And again, you learn a lot. There is mythology built into this house, and I really like that. As someone who is trying to save up and buy a house right now, it'll make you think about, I'm definitely searching that damn house before I actually put down a proposition and buy it. Like, that's something. And then the same thing when you go and stay at an Airbnb or a hotel, you're going to be searching every nook and cranny to make sure there's no secret doors or anything. This is the movie that makes you never want to stay at an Airbnb ever again. As awesome as it was, and it was almost near perfect, there are one thing that holds this movie back. And it was the one thing that I found in the script to not be as smartly written. And maybe it was purposely done there, but there are a lot of cliches when it comes down to the horror tone. And a lot of that just goes down to, this movie would have ended very fast if you would have just done this, this, or that. And you did cliche purposes to make sure that elements of this kept our characters in peril the entire time. I don't hate these moments, but they did add to some eye-rolling film moments where I was just like, okay, come on now. My God, I love Barbarian, though. A twisted, sadistic, hilarious, bonkers, and downright insane movie. The fact that I can be on the edge of my seat and then me laughing my ass off is impeccable. Imagine Wes Craven meets Sam Raimi for the modern age of horror. This is a near-perfect horror movie. It's one of my favorites of this year. I had a damn blast with this movie, and I'm going to be recommending it all year long. Do not miss out. Do not spoil yourself. Do not do any of that. Go see this movie this weekend. Enjoy it for yourself. Go in with an open mind, and I think you're going to come out pretty damn surprised. So with all that said, I'm going to give this movie an A. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. You guys are really all the best. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below your guys' thoughts. Lots of reviews coming up. I'm seeing Don't Worry, Darling today, actually, as this review is going up, so that review will be up soon. The Woman King. We got Lord of the Rings to talk about. We got House of the Dragon. So much and so much more. So thank you guys so much again for watching. And, of course, until next time, stay classy.